Okay, Enshrouded release date announcement. January 24th next year, so I believe it's 1/24/24. But hey, let's watch this. I'm gonna go over it little by little. I also want to talk about stuff in regards to the demo. I played a little bit of the demo, and there were some major crashes and performance things. I lost some progress. I lost a cool bow, and I said, I don't know if I want to play anymore until proper release date or early access or something like that. But we got in the release date trailer. There were other things that I wanted to talk about, but it kind of coincides with this trailer and things that are being shown here. Some of it not so much, but let's watch this and break it down. So hold on. We got. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like this. So, kind of creepy. I like that design. This attack, some sort of special spin attack, knocks the enemy back, maybe kills it. Very cool. And then there's a bow move, explodes the surrounding areas. Assume put some big damage on the enemy and some knockback, which is all very good. Maybe knock down the enemy. There are explosives that are like kind of embedded in the ground, and because the game is voxel generated, it will do kind of a full spherical AoE destruction, which is really cool. There is also other similarly typed buried explosives where it will trigger a timer if you walk over it or land on it with your glider or from a jump or what have you. And you got to get out of that AoE before it explodes. And that's like all the explosives and stuff, a lot of fun. There are explosive projectiles too that you get really, really early, at least in the demo. Yeah, just super cool. I like that. I like how you can use it to blast through the terrain. A lot of terraforming shenanigans, I assume, are going to be very good, and very good, especially with scouting and stealth strategies. Let's continue.
A dangerous fog corrupts the land. You are Flameborn,
Yep.
the last ember of hope to push back
Yeah,
the
we're kind of
shadow.
like fire homunculi.
Like all heroic Flameborn, you will use your deadly sword
I love that
skills
little
to slay.
mechanic there. You walk near like little lanterns or other light sources that are unlit, and the fire within you, lore-wise, extends out and lights your way. It's just so nice. Nice little effect. Really cool. This sword looks cool. It looks cool. The armor looks cool. I want to say this sword, don't get your hopes up, because in the demo there were Lightbringers. I know it sounds like that super cool sword from Final Fantasy VI Advance. It's like, nope, it was a very, very basic sword, and melee in general was underwhelming compared to range strats. You'll see in this whole demo trailer, or not demo trailer.
That is not a sword.
Yeah, look,
Okay, that's not a sword.
look at all the magic and shit that you
Come
can do.
on, you
It's
can't
like,
just punch everything.
okay, this narration, I hate this. It's not important. The whole point of this narration is, hey, you know, you have classic options. You have classic, actual, factual, regular dude with sword things that you can do. Or you could say, fuck that. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to go punch everything. I'm going to go magic in all of this. Or what have you. And I just want to say that this sort of gameplay freedom was almost implied by the open world RPG aspect of it. We don't need to have a cheeky narrator spell it out for us. I don't know. It's cringing, big cringing for me. Sorry. Yeah, we have stealth archer. Here we go. Scouting, yeah, it's gonna be huge, and then you blow up certain areas. Yeah, love that. Nice location pans. We're free camming to see all of this. Yeah, we can Because it's voxel based, we can dig properly underground and make underground homes, unlike in Valheim. Oh, I haven't seen that skull in the demo, but it's cool. We have a grappling hook that you can get pretty early in the game, and then this glider. The design of this glider, how it expands off of your back, it shouldn't cost stamina like a hang glider, because you're not hanging. You're just gliding for free, basically. So I don't know why this costs stamina. Also, the grappling hook costs a weird amount of stamina, as does like climbing on specific climbing grates that you have out in the overworld. It all costs a disturbing amount of stamina. Maybe they'll balance that out. I think it should be balanced out better. It feels like I just barely had any stamina left to make a very, very basic climb with grappling hook and all of that at the tutorial area, basically. Uh, so, kind of, I guess that feeling of just barely having enough stamina to make a big climb would be very nice if it wasn't literally at the start of the game, basically. It's like as soon as you get the grappling hook, you go up here with your glider, and then you're climbing up. Oh, it's like this tiny, tiny rock face. I barely had enough stamina for that. Am I gonna have enough stamina for like bigger climbs? Probably not. And I understand like foods and things are gonna increase stamina, but food buffs run out really quick. Maybe the later ones will be better. Hopefully. So more duration, more stamina, and then it'll be like, oh, I eat the food, and then I can do basic traversal. That still doesn't sound very good. I don't know. I feel like it should just cost less stamina and just be satisfying overall. And this glider should cost 0 stamina. It just does not make sense. What would make sense if, because we are flameborn, we can unleash a little bit of heat from ourselves. Maybe that could cost stamina, and then we could use it like an updraft to gain some height and continue our glide. That would be much more satisfying. There's also a mechanic where you can glide down to a target, that being like an enemy, and you can go into melee with like a bonus damage modifier. Very cool. Except, yeah, melee is not very satisfying. Not just It's just not as good, at least in the demo, as well. Of course, you're scouting, sneaking, stealth archer, and then also mage. Like we saw all the mage strategies earlier that were used. Let's go here. So we got stealth archery. We see how good that is. Even when they're trying to like display everything pretty equally, it just seems like stealth archer and mage they're just so good. We have free camming. We have the base underground. Very good. All this decoration. Love that. Similar comfort rested method to Valheim there, with the decorations and such. Yeah, grappling hook. Wait, hang on. Did we? Yeah. The mage stuff is back here. So this, using your basic attack with a staff or a wand, that's free. But you also have things called spell charges, which are basically spell ammunition, limited use things or packets that you can get out in the overworld and chests or such. And I assume later on you could craft them. And they'll take a spot in your inventory, your hotbar. And you have 2 hotbars to fiddle around with. So it's not going to be too much of an issue to have a bunch of arrows, a bunch of spell charges, and just swap super freely and just in the middle of doing all of this stuff. There's also just the very convenient way of swapping ammo. I forget exactly what it was. All I remember is that it was so convenient. So I'm just really not worried. I think it was scroll wheel, but I'm really not worried about magic being so good because I think it's just gonna be like fun overall. Maybe there's gonna be enemies later on that have more resistances, because I remember I had this wand and I used it against an enemy and it said they were weak to it. So there are enemies that could be resistant, very resistant, immune to certain damage types. That could balance things out and make me have to use more melee options. That would be really cool. But I think personally, it should be proactive, as in the tools that you have available to you in terms of combat should be balanced kind of in a vacuum. Whereas if you manipulate resistances and weaknesses, it's more of what the enemies passively do instead of what you actively accomplish with said tools. And that doesn't feel good from a very what should be freeing experience with an open world survival RPG. So personally, because in the skill tree you can go straight down the middle between archery and mage, or ranger and mage, I think it's called. You can go straight down the middle and then branch off whenever you want into, oh, I want to dip a little bit more into mage here. I want to dip a little bit more into archery there. I think a lot of ranged mages are going to just flood the world if they keep it the balance the same. And there's going to be limited melee because the two-handed axe that I got, the two-handed melee, was really slow. It's like, okay, I can get one axe hit with this two-handed axe when I can get 3 hits in and defend myself with sword and shield. Or I can just stay in the mid-range and strafe forward, back, wherever, and just use a wand or a staff. And then if there's something intense, I can just whip out the spell charge and blast them with something real strong. Let's see what you can blast with. So basic attacks, bam, fire, bam, lightning, and then it's like, oh, you can punch, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of variety in terms of spell charges, I assume. So I know that there's a healing one, there's an ice one. Those are the ones that I saw. And of course, yeah, you could walk back while using the bow, and then you can dodge out of that, swap to a mage stuff, and then continue to be mobile. And if you've scouted properly in advance, it really shouldn't be too much of an issue. You should just be dominating pretty much every open encounter. Now, there are dungeon encounters. There's the Enshrouded area, the namesake of the game. And all of this is, well, see, we're going to glide into it right now. While there are some open areas, there are also some dungeon areas which are relatively enclosed. The thing about that is because, again, it's voxel generated, you can just grab your pickaxe, which you can just put in your regular inventory, honestly. And just, oh yeah, look at that. Look at the mage strats. Oh man, the archers. Man. Yeah, the sword, it does not seem as strong as magic or ranged right now. Yeah, the building looks phenomenal in the voxel system. Ooh, hang on. Run that back. I saw a special ability with a sword. Ooh, was that a sword or what is that? Hang on. Is this a two-handed warhammer maybe, or it could also be a two-handed staff? I can't tell. That's cool. So, you have a ground pound here. My only hope is that these moves have some sort of proactive control, where you can go out in advance to compensate for the range difference of course, mage stuff and archery. And you can just go in and use these abilities in melee and put some sort of debuff on the enemy so that you can get your combo started, so that you can really justify getting into melee range and losing a lot of your versatility through spell charges plus different types of ammo that you would have. Now, presumably, what we're going to accomplish with this is just through the skill tree. So I assume it's going to be a lot easier if they keep a similar balance at the start to go mage ranger at the beginning, and then it'll balance out the more everybody goes down their own skill tree. So maybe the active abilities for warrior or whatever melee focused builds are just more effective than your ranged active builds or active abilities, you know? Maybe, I don't know. Because otherwise we might be getting into a situation like Skyrim where everybody runs a stealth archer build, pretty much. And there's just that meme. Just, oh, I'm running. Oh, what build am I going to run this time in this Skyrim playthrough? Oh, oops, it's a stealth archery build again. You know, I understand that, like, at the highest tier of gameplay in Skyrim, stealth archery isn't necessarily optimal, and you can do a whole bunch of different things, stacking like enchantment levels with your Daedric gear, what have you, with all sorts of shenanigans. But hey, what most people just get roped into, and what basically represents a lot of the game in that sense, is what's going to be easy to go into at the beginning or early mid game, which is stealth archery. And if the game is going to represent, if it's going to represent itself, if Enshrouded is going to represent itself with a lot of stealth archery plus mage shenanigans, that's all that people are going to do, is that they're going to go down that route. Now, it does look like it's going to be some silly fun, like doing proper scouting and doing mage shenanigans. There's room, because of the way that like different gear is acquired kind of randomly. There's room for people to be like, oh, I'm going to be the scout, so I'm going to have like this bow. You know, if this has proper abilities towards my stealth and like initial sniping of certain types, then you give me this gear. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna be like very focused in the mid range as a one-handed mage. It's like, okay, well, you find any specifically strong one-handed like wands or staves, then give those to me. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna be your two-handed mage, and I'm gonna be very much focused on up front. And while we all have the same sort of generic capabilities, we're going to almost pseudo-spec into doing these very specific aspects of the general build to create our own mini builds within the stealth archer plus mage gameplay variety. So there's still variety within this limited aspect, which is good. That's good. But, you know, I really don't want melee builds to be underpowered, you know? I feel like if you're going to represent a warrior as a just flat out regular option with no asterisks around it and clarify nothing else around it, it should be balanced accordingly, as should all of the other in between. So your mage warrior and your ranger warrior. All of the in betweens should be just as good as going, say, hey, I'm just going to be we're all just going to be rangered mage. So, again, this is just my initial impressions from the demo and such, and just judging up based off of a long, long time of doing analysis for these types of games and video game combat analysis. So I can see this going very unbalanced very quickly. Again, it's not even out yet, so I don't know if it's going to be like this. They have so much time for it to change. There's early access that's going to be out soon too, where they're going to get a lot of feedback over long, long periods of time. The demo was only an 8-hour time limit, and, well, there's going to be a lot of change from then until launch, and then presumably also after launch. We're going to get a lot of changes, a lot of patches. I just wanted to get my information out there right now. I've said all I needed to say, except for one more thing. I really want smithing times to be reduced. Right now, it's in I think it's 5 minutes per ingot or something like that. Something goofy like that. At least for iron. It's like, let's not do that. Let's speed that up, please. I don't want to go through the process of going out to explore, gathering mats, coming back, putting the metal in the thing, going out, getting a really cool bow or a really cool staff or a new thing, and then coming back, checking my crafting options, and it's like, oh, I waited 30 minutes for this stuff to smelt, and my crafting options are worse than the shit I just got. Oh, yeah, it's like I don't want that to happen. So I'd love for it all to be a little bit quicker. You know, that would be nice. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited, even for like the silly building and adventures, even if it's gonna be relatively unbalanced and we're gonna steamroll enemies. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. It's gonna be an adventure either way. I would just like it to be more satisfying and more balanced as an experience on the whole. And let's hope that they do that because they got a lot of opportunity ahead to make it right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.